I'm Rick Buck, and I've been a diamond consultant for over 6 years. In this video, we will go over everything you need to know about hearts and arrow diamonds, and even compare them to excellent cut diamonds so you know what you're getting in a hearts and arrow diamond. Hearts and arrow diamonds get their name from a pattern you can see when looking at the diamond. For example, this is a hearts and arrows diamond in real life and natural daylight. We will use this same hearts and arrow diamond in the rest of this video as an example. You can see a distinct pattern which is called the arrow pattern. And sorry about the lint that you're seeing on it right now. It's hard to make out in the daylight the full arrow pattern. So let's do something else. Let's use an asset scope and look at the diamond. This scope beautifully reveals the arrows pattern in the diamond. Now, why are we using this scope? An asset scope tells us that when light hits the diamond from various directions, which in this case are represented by the colors on the scope, the diamond will reflect that light back at your eye in certain patterns, and this asset scope will show you the pattern it reflects diamond colors and light back at your eye. The pattern you can see here is the arrow pattern. In addition to the asset scope, you can also use an ideal scope or a blue scope, which are like an asset scope, as we will see here, to look at this pattern. Now, while these different scopes make pretty patterns, it reveals much more than that. These scopes show us how sparkly and alive the diamond will appear under normal or sparkly lighting. For example, this gem is made of cubic zirconia that doesn't bounce light back at the appropriate angles like diamonds do. And that's because all you see is the light from behind the diamond shining through, because it doesn't bounce light back at your eye as a diamond should or does, which is why cubic zirconias lack the sparkle that real diamonds do. Take these 5 diamonds. This is another hearts and arrows diamond in the middle of good and very good cut diamonds, which are a step below the excellent cut. You can see how sparkly excellent cuts are in comparison. Hearts and arrow diamonds are guaranteed to have an optimal sparkle to them. Now we know why the hearts and arrows diamond uses the word arrows, but now let's see why they are named hearts, and it's for a similar reason. Flipping the diamond over through the asset scope, you can see the blue shapes resembling hearts when looking on the back side of the diamond through the asset scope. Flipping it over and looking at it this way doesn't tell us a whole lot like it would flipping it over and looking down at the table of the diamond, but looking through the asset scope at this angle does help you see why it's called a hearts diamond, and that's because of the heart shapes, and that is where they get their name. And you don't just need an asset scope. Once again, you can see the hearts through an ideal scope or a blue scope as well. Now let's talk about more about the hearts and arrows thing and why it's important, and some of the reasons why it's not so important. When they first started naming these hearts and arrows, it was kind of a cute selling point because, you know, Cupid arrows and hearts are all representations of eternal love, and diamonds and diamond rings are the #1 way that we represent love in inanimate object nowadays. And so that may not be a big deal to you, but practically and more importantly, the hearts and arrows pattern shows that the diamond will sparkle at its peak. And this represents that your love is alive and shines forth. And for Christians, it also shows that your love shines and sparkles the light of Christ. And then another important thing is that the sparkle is the second most impressive quality in a diamond next to its size. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that hands down, shopping for diamonds online is better than shopping in brick and mortar stores, especially from the reputable websites I have linked to below. And that's for cost and even for being able to pick out a diamond that's right for you. Before I get to the best part, make sure you watch all my videos on how to plan the perfect proposal. I have thousands of ideas and tips on things like how to plan and photograph the proposal so you have great memories. Also, if you want more money to spend on the engagement, I show you how to save hundreds to thousands on the ring, and she will be impressed. Jewelers know that this is a one-time purchase you know nothing about, so take all my tips so you don't get ripped off, and use the links below this video because those are the best places to buy rings and also help to save money on those rings. So you can apply that to an amazing engagement. In fact, this is the exact hearts and arrows diamond from one of my favorite websites I have linked to below. You can see in person, it still has the exact pattern that you see online. So online is not just better for the price, but for many other reasons, like how you can see the diamond in magnification and the arrow pattern that will ensure you are getting a hearts and arrows diamond. Now for the holdback of hearts and arrow diamonds, the price. You will pay significantly more for the diamond than even an excellent cut diamond. Excellent cut diamonds still have excellent sparkle, much like the hearts and arrows diamond. In fact, here are the two diamonds side by side. The one on the right is the hearts and arrows diamond we've been looking at the whole time. The one on the left is an excellent cut diamond. You can see they sparkle about the same. When we compare the two diamonds under normal indoor light, the diamonds both have a little bit of an arrow pattern. The asset scope, when comparing both of the diamonds, shows they both have a pretty good arrow pattern too. The excellent cut arrows are maybe ever so slightly more faint, meaning the hearts and arrows would sparkle ever so slightly more. Also, if you look at them directly from above, the excellent cut has the arrows ever so slightly off alignment, where the inner arrows connect to some of the outer arrows. And you don't just see this under my asset scope, you can see this online too when the pictures are directly over the diamond and you align them that way. So hopefully you can tell when comparing the two that there is a slight difference between the excellent cut and the hearts and arrows. Does it make a ton of difference in the sparkle? Probably not. But for some people, the representation of the perfect diamond is a representation of the perfect love. And that's what diamonds are, is they're a representation of our love. So if you have the money and if that's something that is important to you, then it might be worth it. Otherwise, I think an excellent cut diamond, you can't go wrong. But never go below an excellent cut diamond. And watch more videos about diamond cut, because you'll see why it is so much more important than clarity and color. So is it worth the price increase? For some people, yes. The diamond has a lot of representation in the relationship and commitment behind it. And so some people want it to be perfect. Watch my video on the engagement ring and what it represents to know more about that. One more critical factor in hearts and arrows diamonds is knowing what lab graded the diamond. Look at these two diamonds. They are both hearts and arrow diamonds. A lab called GIA graded the one on the right, and the one on the left was done by a lower quality lab. You can see the one on the right is much more well defined with its arrows. The one on the left isn't as uniform in pattern. Now let's look at the diamond certificates that go with those corresponding diamonds. The lab on the left is IGI with a hearts and arrow notation in the comments. The lab on the right is graded by GIA. They don't state the hearts and arrows in their certificate because it isn't an official grade by GIA, and GIA is the gold standard in diamond certificate grading. Instead, for the diamond on the right, the retailer had an additional lab verify that this is an excellent cut GI certified diamond that is hearts and arrows in addition to its excellent cut. So the hearts and arrows grade only really means something if it is first graded by GIA, which is the gold standard in diamond reports. And also, once again, that doesn't mean anything unless you use a reputable retailer that has another lab certify it. Watch my video on diamond lab certificates for more on that. Otherwise, you would have bought the IGI lab certified diamond and paid more for a lesser quality diamond. Moving on. On my channel, I have tons of proposal tips and idea videos from how to plan, photograph, and deliver the perfect proposal that she is going to love. Also, watch one of my many how to shop for engagement rings and diamond videos. Or mark my words, they know how to rip you off. The best places to buy diamonds are in the description below to save hundreds to thousands on engagement rings, and they are the best and most reputable places to buy diamond engagement rings. Like, subscribe, and watch another one now.